Hey, did you ever want to hold a terry fold? I got one right here.
Hey, give me back my eye holes. Those are my eye holes.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Franchise Unpacked. I'm your host, Zach.
And I'm your other host, Dave.
And today, you know what, guys? It's a good day. In fact, it's a great day. We have a guest in the studio. So the one, the only, Mark Smith. Mark, how you doing?
Woo! Doing great, guys. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
tonight.
dude.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Love the podcast. Great to be here.
Yeah, and that was one of the things too. Is like, I think I told you this too, Dave. So Mark has listened to the show, I think literally since day one.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and
Thank you so much.
and we keep going back and forth. We were like, okay, well, what episode do you want to be on? Like Harry Potter? Oh, we already did Harry Potter. Okay, well, what about this? What about that? And then I almost said just wubba lubba dub dub by accident.
Yep.
Wubba lubba dub dub. And we wound up on Rick and Morty, which is what we're covering today. You guys, I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm pumped. That's one of my favorite franchises. And how we usually start the show, I always like, this is kind of one of my favorite parts. We like to talk about the kind of our history with the franchise itself. And Mark, since you're our guest, when did you first see the show? Who did you hear about it from a buddy? What's your experience?
Yeah. Well, you know, being as hip as I am, of course, I knew nothing about it until my son said, you got to check out this show.
Right.
So right away, after 3 months after he told me, I said, good, let's check it out. So I think I watched the first episode, promptly watched the entire series.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Seems to be how it goes.
Yeah, it was just awesome.
Yeah. And what about you, Zach?
So for me, I had a buddy when I lived out in LA who, and Matt, if you're listening, shout out because you're the man and I appreciate you showing me this. But Matt was like, dude, have you ever watched Rick and Morty? I was like, no, I never really have. And so he goes, okay, well, you got to watch. He brought up the episode where there are, it's like those, what is it? Not bacteria, like those parasites that keep like multiplying.
Yes.
And I watched that episode and I was like, oh my gosh. This is the smartest cartoon.
When Rick puts him in lockdown. Because,
Yes.
Yeah. Now, there were only 18 of us in here to start with.
Who cares? I just like writing down numbers.
That's, what is it? A short neck giraffe and stuff like that.
Reverse giraffe.
That's right.
But yeah, so after that was, I mean, there was no turning back for me. I binged the entire first season. I've watched the second and third now, obviously. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about with this one. But Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I was still living in New York when the first season came out,
okay.
and we didn't have cable out there because I wasn't about to pay Time Warner any more than I had to. But we didn't get Adult Swim, and I don't know if we had like Hulu or anything to catch up on it. But until I moved back to Michigan in 2014, I moved into my previous guest of the show, Dave Simon's house. I lived with him for about a year. And while I was there, he had watched it. A couple of my other buddies who had come over had watched it. And, Sunday nights, you're watching Game of Thrones. You got your shows, you got your schedule. And then it would come on late night on Adult Swim.
Right.
Did it originally, was it 11 o'clock? One of those shows?
I think so.
I think it was like a later show, so you could catch it.
Slot.
And then they obviously have, in the newer seasons, have moved it up because it's definitely a primetime contender now. But yeah, and I just fell right in love with it. Yeah. I mean, it's hilarious adult cartoon.
So I kind of wanted to start off with obviously the past of the franchise, as we tend to do. But so I don't know if you guys knew this. It actually started off technically with a. Did you guys just hear my stomach?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think the mic might have picked that up.
I hope it did. If it didn't, I'm going to just boost those levels like crazy. Anyway.
Jersey Mike.
I know. And some Jersey Mike's pre-show. Maybe not the best decision for someone with acid reflux.
Yeah, right. But a wonderful review of Jersey Mike's.
Welcome to our show, everybody who's listening for the first time. But it started off as a pilot episode, kind of almost a pitch, I think, and it was, I don't even want to call it a pilot. It was like a short animation. Yeah,
from what I gather, the creators, Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon, you might recognize the name Dan Harmon. He had created Community, a lot of big shows like that. He was actually nervous. He got fired from Community briefly in 2012 and was approached by Adult Swim, but he was nervous about cartoons, didn't know much about animation. He was like, I don't think they're going to be my type of humor. Will correlate. But he had, a few years before that, he had started his Channel 101 festival. Have you heard about Dan Harmon?
Yeah.
It's like an indie short where you create basically the pilot of a TV show or a series,
Right.
and you show that to an audience, and they kind of vote on what they
Right.
like. And Justin Roiland came with The Adventures of Doc and Marty.
Yeah. So
And
did you
Clever.
ever see the that first short?
You know what? I kept hearing about it, and I'm like, okay, I got to check it out. And you keep
Yeah.
hearing how vulgar it is, and you're like, oh,
wild.
check. Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's like
Justin Roiland's humor at its
the hardest
Hard, yeah.
of hard
Yeah.
R's. I mean, it was. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. Don't watch it.
Yeah.
No.
Don't.
it involves explicit sex acts.
Yeah.
And that's where I'll leave it.
And actually, before we go any further into the episode, we should have probably thrown this at the beginning. Just due to the content matter of this show, I mean, we're gonna still keep it clean, but there
Might
are
be a couple little.
it's a raunchy show. So just
Beware.
be prepared that this isn't for the faint of heart or for small children. So
Yeah.
if you have small children, throw them in the trash just for this episode, and take them out later.
And I love the idea that the pilot or the first concept was called The Adventures of Doc and Marty. And
Yeah.
Marty was spelled Marti. So it like really like glazed over that like, but it was, I mean, obviously if you haven't seen the show, it is definitely hugely first and foremost inspired by Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of this, you've got this older doctor and his young boy Ward.
Right.
Which, at least in the cartoon, it's explained because in Rick and Morty, it's his grandson. So, yeah, grandpa, grandson. It's
Right.
in Back to the Future. Is anybody... Why?
Look, creepy.
What's Marty doing? What's Marty doing?
It's been a while since I've seen Back to the Future, so I,
and
don't.
Doc is completely harmless, of course.
Yeah.
But that looks really weird.
But
to me. I don't
Rick
know.
is not. Rick is not.
Yeah, it's never. Yeah, Rick is not harmless, but it's the idea. And then Rick is a super genius, and it's his adventures with
Yeah.
him and his grandson interdimensionally or in our dimension,
Right.
which is
Well,
always hilarious.
And Mark, what was like the first, I know we kind of touched on it, but like, did you end up watching it at the first season you said? Or
Yeah, so I start off at the first episode, and I watched it, and I was like, and of course it's like many years later, right? These guys take 10 years between seasons.
Yeah.
It's like Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
watched it, and you can kind of get a little that Doc and Marty kind of thing,
Right.
But it's written so intelligently.
Yeah.
I love it. And then you kind of figure out later on when you see like in the garage this box of time travel stuff, and you're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, hold on. But there's no time travel. It's interdimensional, but really
Right.
cool. Yeah.
Right. And that's it. You kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, it's such a smart and a smartly written show. I mean, there's toilet humor for sure, farts and poop and all that stuff, but it's around that and outside of that, it is so freaking smart.
And extremely poignant. I always go. I forget what season it is, but one of the most heavy moments was the episode where they go. Rick, Summer, and Morty go to the planet where they meet the being that is
The hive mind?
The hive mind.
Yeah.
The hive
yeah.
mind. Yeah. And he had a
Oh
former
my gosh.
relationship with the hive mind, and now it's like she has become more powerful. But like they get back into their relationship. Basically, long story short, find out it's not going to work. Kind of hard breaks it off with Rick. He goes home, and you see him almost kill himself.
Yeah.
He almost committed, and
Remember
it's
that?
a
Like,
very
yeah,
with
implied.
that little helmet
the
thing.
thing, and
Yeah.
The laser that-
he gets too drunk or messed up on some space drug that he just passes out and falls over and misses getting killed.
And that brings up a good point. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but throughout the entire show, they touch on these topics that are very untouchable in most other mediums. Like,
And they don't make jest with him. I should reiterate that what I just spoke of. He tries to kill him, and it's a very serious.
Right.
It cuts to black after that. It's a very not funny. Moment.
And in the moments where they do, joke about it, they do it in such a way that they're able to back themselves up, and they're almost saying like, "Hey, it's okay to laugh at things that can hurt, because if we laugh at them, sometimes that can take away the pain that would be caused by it." And they know their boundaries. You know what I mean? They're not being awful human beings about it, but it's just really interesting to me that they can take these extremely serious topics and in a lot of ways keep them serious, but in a lot of other ways they can poke a little bit of fun, and they can, I guess, open it up a little bit to not always be quite so.
And they do it in a very smart manner.
Yeah.
So you still have humor around it, right? Not at it.
Yes.
Sure.
But yeah, they do a great job with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the perfect way to word it. It's around it. It's not at it.
It's like and then there's the other episode where Summer realized it's kind of Morty gives the great speech about mortality.
Yeah.
It's everybody's gonna die. Come in, watch TV.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everything sucks. We're all gonna die, and it comes to the realization. It's like Summer. I'm not your brother in this dimension.
Right.
Yeah.
Rick and I had to find a replacement dimension because we screwed ours up so badly, and this was the closest one to ours. We had to kill other Rick and Morty, and they're buried in the backyard.
Yeah.
So nothing matters. Come enjoy the rest of your life while it still exists. And you're like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Now, so earlier today, Mark and I were talking a little bit. What was the episode that we were talking about? We were talking about like the interdimensional cable one, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Two brothers.
right,
Just call Two Brothers.
so I have a little bit of fun trivia for that episode. Almost all of those like commercials that you see, those are just improv. That was just Justin Roiland in the booth, just riffing. That's why
Getting
a lot of times
drunker and drunker.
that's why you can hear him laughing like
They recorded it like all night.
at the end of the Gazorpazorp field one. He's like, I want my effing, and then he just goes enchiladas, and you can hear him laughing like.
I love the and they're even commenting on it.
Yeah.
I was like, there's almost an ad-lib manner to these when Rick and Morty are like flipping.
Yeah.
And so they're like really commenting on it. But it's the rest of the episode is scripted.
Right.
But all of the commercials, and they are going to do an interdimensional cable in every season. There will always be
Thank
one
God.
episode.
That's awesome. I love
'Cause
that.
The second one was great with fake doors, still selling
fake doors.
Fake doors. Oh, Ants in My Eyes Johnson.
Yeah.
It's great. I hope my prices aren't too low. There's no way to tell. Everything hurts.
Anybody listening should know that this was going to be an episode full of our awful impressions.
And what I heard is that the animators hate those episodes. It's kind of the same thing. I told the story, I think, about Disney when they animated Aladdin. They had to wait every day for Robin Williams to finish in the booth because they didn't know what impersation he was going to do, so they didn't know what to animate.
Right.
Right.
And it's the same thing for these animators. Could you imagine being told to make a commercial for a plumbus? You tell me what a plumbus
How is a plumbus made?
Everybody's got one, but like, and all of the directions, it's like they roll out the schleem, and you're like, what is this? And it's brilliant. Like just and that episode itself is a very light one. It's like, I think they throw those into the middle just to kind of like, there's like a B plot, but it was about, one of them's about Jerry replacing an alien heart with his own
Right.
genitals.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Well,
what?
and so I did hear too that they made it a point to write it in such a way that if you hopped in the middle of whatever season, you can just be in it and catch up.
And I wanted to talk to you guys about that.
Yeah.
It does have a very air of Family Guy about it, where it's like you can do exactly that. There is a very good through line that seems to almost really kind of set the seasonal tone. Like you see it like it kind of bookends. Every season has that through line, like a bird. Bird person and the wedding, and how it turns out his new wife is evil and working for all the
Spoiler
aliens.
alert, by the way, for anyone listening.
But you find these through lines, and like how and Rick gets arrested at the end of one season, and that carries through, and like you see that Earth has been taken over by aliens, so it becomes this whole plot line. Jerry gets a job and gets like.
So I gotta ask, what is your theory on Evil Morty?
Oh man, Evil Morty's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right? So when you look at especially the episode where they really showed him, I'll tell you, I love the one where, sorry, just to get into it, but
no, you're good. You're good.
I
Let's
love
go for
where
it.
Evil Morty, where he's kind of trying to show off in front of all the people when he was like elected president.
Right.
And he's getting the haircut, right? And he's asking everybody, right? Hey, who agrees with this? Right? And they're all shouting. He's like,
That was a pretty good Morty impression.
and then they ask him, is that enough off the top? And he's like, I don't know. Is it?
I loved it too during his speeches. They're showing the montage of like post-election things and like everything being kind of cleaned up. And his speech, if you listen to it, it's just like, this is the point where the newly elected president gives a really dramatic speech. And you're not really paying attention to what he's saying because you're watching everything occur. But he's literally talking about the speech he's giving. That is one of the more important and kind of secret through lines of the whole series. So the very first episode we saw Evil Morty was the one where they were accusing Rick. And he was using all those Mortys to mask him, the one Rick.
Yep.
And it turned out that Rick was a robot.
Yep.
And you saw Morty put his the eye stuff away under his eye patch.
Yep.
And then the next one was the election. And now, so Evil Morty is in control. of
Yeah.
the what's it called,
The Citadel.
the Citadel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's the Citadel of Morty's, I guess.
I like he changed the logo,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's got the M spiking through the R. Yeah,
Do we
awesome.
think that C-137 Rick and Morty will have to maybe take it, because I feel like the Citadel of Rick's will just need to be in place as the
Yeah.
Citadel
Well,
of
let me
Morty's.
ask that. So when you look at it, right, the first thing they show when it first starts is you show Rick using his portal gun, right? And he jumps in. Morty doesn't
Right.
make it.
No.
Yeah.
Is that 137 Morty?
That could be evil Morty right there.
Maybe.
That could have been his old Morty.
Yeah.
Well, and
what-
that's-
He's bitter.
That's
I
one
like
thing
that.
that I mean, and maybe in some ways it's cheating, but these writers set themselves up so perfectly because it's all interdimensional.
Right, yeah.
You can just say, oh yeah, there was a portal that opened up, and
And it was funny when they were like, "We're so sorry for the confusion, Rick. Here's a coupon for one free Morty replacement." And he was just like, "No. And then he like turns around and quickly grabs it when Morty's not looking. But you're like, "Oh, okay. So how many times has Rick replaced Morty?"
that just reminds me of
Oh my
when
God,
Jerry
yeah.
tries to leave like the Jerry daycare. He's like, I'm leaving. Okay, that was always allowed.
Yeah.
No one's gonna stop you.
I like when they come back and they're like, is that your Jerry? What number
Right.
you have? Yeah, that's a blips and chits.
Flips and shit.
So they were. I forget. They're trying to hook up a VCR. That's one of the activities
Yeah.
they give them, and then they're gonna watch something with the commentary on. I think it's like Major
Yeah.
League or something like that. Or something. But yeah, I love that, and the Beth mascot.
So I definitely want to move to the to sort of the present of the franchise now. We've been dwelling in the past for too long. So the present of the franchise, we have a couple of video games out, which
Yes.
before we get into the video games, I just have to mention, why am I totally blanking on the name of it? The VR game that they play. Where
Virtual reality.
that they play in the show.
Life.
Ted?
Roy?
Is that Roy? Is that Roy? Right,
Roy?
yeah.
He's gone off the grid.
You waste your time going back to that.
He's taking Roy off the grid.
He's got no social security card.
You really wasted a lot of time with that whole bird watching.
So I thought it was funny that there's this virtual reality game in the show, and then they did make a virtual reality game for I think for Steam,
Yes.
HTC Vive.
Yeah.
And so I haven't played that personally. I've watched some gameplay. It looks like a lot of fun. It just looks like classic comedy Rick and Morty.
Yeah, the plot of it is you are a Morty. I believe you're a Morty clone. They've cloned
Yes.
Morty so he can do tasks around the house, and you will run around the house. You're in the garage. You're in a bat. Like you
Yeah.
mainly stay in the garage, but it warps you to other places, like with portals and stuff.
Right.
It shrinks you down. You've got to like build things. There's a lot of you get to play with a Meeseeks box. You can summon
that's
Meeseeks
amazing.
to help you out. It's a really great, and it's one of those games that shows off how awesome virtual reality is becoming.
Yeah.
Like everything you can touch in the garage, everything does something.
Right.
There's even this, and it's great. If you watch the show, all the items in the garage are there, and they don't even mention some of these items in the show,
Right.
but you can interact and see what they do within the game. There's this one helmet. I think it looks like a colander. It's like a bucket you put on your head, and as soon as you do, it's just people screaming at you. And like screaming and laughing and like talking nonsense gibberish. So you just take it off, and then as soon as you take it off, it stops.
That's
it's
incredible.
Really, it's really great.
The VR game did not gain as much popularity though as the mobile game.
Yeah.
Where it was essentially Pokemon. Did you see this at all?
Yeah.
Pocket Mortys.
Pocket Mortys.
Yeah.
It was basically Pokemon where you would go around and collect different versions of Morty and battle them against each other to
So
capture.
you kind of try to catch them all.
Yeah, gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote, that always creeps me out in the Pokemon theme song.
Oh, yeah.
The guy's like, yeah.
It was the 90s. And they did a really great job of show all the. I remember playing a lot of it, at least the first version. There were a lot of the Mortys from the show, and then extra Mortys, and you
Right.
could merge Mortys to create more powerful Mortys.
Yeah.
It was just very. I don't know if they added a multiplayer element to it eventually, but it was lacking. I was hoping you'd be able to.
Now, there was one area that I wasn't sure about, and I was going to ask you too about it. Were there comic books made as well after the fact? I vaguely remember hearing about comic books.
Yeah, from what I'm looking at, the research I did, they did. They had home media. They got the video games. I'm trying to find all the different comic books. Oh yeah, here we go. In 2015, they started.
Okay, yeah, I thought there
making
was a run of them.
Yeah,
I've never read any of them though.
And it's like a different dimension. It's like C-132 or something.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so you're following a little different Rick and Morty, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, and then they did in 2018. There was a 4-issue crossover comic with the fantasy role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons. It was called
Really?
Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm very intrigued about that. There's another one involving Dungeons and Dragons, Chapter 2, called Painscape. So I guess they're loving the, all the crossover material.
Yeah.
There was also the iOS game in 2014, Jerry's Game, which Jerry plays in the balloons. The balloons. And it's just like in the show. It's just you pop balloons that are like, and you just hear Jerry like cheering you on the whole time. But yeah.
So we're getting ready now. And you had mentioned this. I think there's a new season coming out.
Coming out
pretty soon.
We've got a month left.
Yeah. And that's going to be, I think, very big because this is, I feel like the 4th season for any show is when you kind of make it or break it. They're either going to drop the ball and make a horrible season. I don't think that's going to be the case.
They've been approved for 70 more episodes.
Really?
That they got bought out for 70 more episodes with an indeterminate amount of seasons. Because it's been 10 to 11 episodes per season so far. But now that they've been approved, it could go up to easily a 12 to 24 episode arc per season.
So now are they going to put it out? It's not going to be like Mr. Poopy Butthole going, see in like a year and a half.
Maybe I still think they'll do their year and a half.
Oh, man.
I always say when they were like, oh yeah, this is going to get delayed. Like if a video game's going to get delayed or a movie's going to get pushed back. I'm like, you know what? That means they're doing it right. There's something they might see wrong or, and it's their writing style.
Right.
They're so far so good. You know what
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You can tell by the designs of everything. You're like, is everybody a testicle monster?
I think so. It kind of feels. But I remember saying that they're always switching up the writing team every year or adding more people to it because I heard that the first year was very kind of bare bones. It was like only 4 or 5 writers in there with them, and now it's kind of grown in. And you can tell too, I think like the richness of the storytelling, it's there. There's more story to tell.
Well, and I did hear too that Justin Roiland will sometimes just walk into the writer's room and when he's asking for episodes, he'll be like, I don't know, write me an episode about a Pop-Tart that comes to life. And just like whatever comes to his mind, and then just leaves. No. And it's like, it just leaves it to the writers.
Idea bomb?
Yep. It just drops an idea bomb and just basically says to these writers, like, go do your thing.
So is that Pickle Rick? Is that how that came to be?
I guarantee you that's how Pickle Rick came to be.
Oh my God.
So you'll like this. In 2016, they released a tabletop game called Total Recall based off the episode about the parasites.
Yeah.
And it's a tabletop game where you figure out who's real and who's not. That's like
that's amazing.
Yeah. So there's they have a Mr. Meeseeks Boxo Fun game, like tabletop games. They've kind of just diversified themselves all over the market.
So let me ask you guys this. While we're talking about some of our favorite things and how we got started in the series, what's your favorite episode of all of them?
Oh my God. Let's see. Wow, that's a really good question.
It's a tough question, right?
Holy cow.
If you had to pick one.
I remember the one that really hooked me. I liked the show, but like when Lawnmower Dog really got me in the first season.
Great one.
It was such a clever.
Where are my testicles, Summer?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll rub your nose in it, Jeff.
What about you?
Yeah, mine. Let's see. You know what? I think I like Interdimensional Cable or Morty's Mind Blowers.
Yeah.
I love those because they just throw in so many things. And then Morty's Mind Blowers. I remember that was the point where I thought, oh my God, this is why they never learn. Right. You eliminate that, right?
Yeah.
You're like, you gotta have that so you can learn from it.
It's like, how many times have you erased our memory? It's like Men in Black. Have you ever done that flashy thing to me? No. Have you? Are you serious? No.
Right.
Tell me the truth.
Yeah, right.
Like, really?
Oh my God.
What do you like? What's your favorite?
Oh man, still the Total Recall one is up there for me.
Oh yeah.
Then there's the one, I'm so bad with the names of the episodes.
Just throw Rick in there somewhere.
Yeah, just somewhere Rick. But I do like the one where they have like the mech suits and they're flying around that like farmer's town.
Yeah,
Purge.
the
Purge.
The Cat Purge. I was just about to say that one. Yeah.
That's a great one.
It is dark.
Oh,
yeah.
That is a dark episode.
But that's another reminder of the show. It can make fun of like they even say, oh, so this is a purge planet. Like they make fun of the movie or like the plot that they're stealing from.
Yeah.
But it was a purge situation on a planet of cat people.
Yeah.
with 1800s.
Well, and that's why all of the Interdimensional Cable episodes, those always get me. Those are 100%.
Oh, yeah.
I think those are up there. But if we're going for like more unique episodes,
The Purge was really well done.
Yeah.
And I just love how they're like, hey, we can kill everybody. We're trying to save this little girl, so we got free range on everything.
right?
It's like, hey, you want to get in on this one? Oh yeah, and Morty eats like the candy bar that amps up every purge chemicals or whatever. Yeah, and
With Purgatol.
And it was in one of the more recent episodes. I just thought about this when Rick is, or no, is it Rick or it might be Jerry flying in Rick's saucer, but they're hearing the Terry Fold song, which. So
who creates a song like that?
Yeah, first of all, who creates it? And they play the full version of it at the end of the episode, but it's like that grab my Terry Folds.
Yeah.
So the way that they came up with that, they literally put Justin Roiland in the recording booth and just said go. And he didn't have any music to go off of. He just started singing that.
What?
He improvised the entire thing start to finish, and that was his first and only take. Which is why at the end of the song you can hear him go, "Was that okay? Should I do it again?" And then they took it and they gave it to Chaos, who then wrote music to it and did like the harmonies, like "Grab my Terry Folds."
Oh man,
it's a catchy song.
Yeah.
The other episode that I really love is when they keep teleporting further and further to fix the engine of the saucer, and Stephen Colbert.
Oh, that was a great one.
Yeah, it's the universes inside each other.
Miniverse.
That sounds like slavery with more steps.
Lame name. Yeah, miniverse. The miniverse episode, but I love Summer's plot where she's just locked in the car and the defense system's going off and the SWAT team, and the car produces the SWAT team. So there's a SWAT team trying to break into this car or like destroy it because it's causing havoc in this parking lot, and Summer's locked inside, and the car is told to protect Summer at all costs, and this SWAT team they're gonna like shoot, and so what Summer tells the ship to defend her, but without using violence.
Right.
So the ship decides to create a copy of the small son of the SWAT captain, who you found out died. And he's like, "Hold your fire. Oh my God." And he's like, Daddy. And then he like melts in the guy's eyes, and you're like, and she's like, "Oh my God, that's terrible." And you said, "Don't kill anyone." This is like mental. And the ship says something along the lines of like, "I'm not allowed to kill you, but just know this emotional damage I can like inflict to all of you."
Right.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like, it just kind of goes to show, like, 'cause I always wonder how much of this whole entire series is just totally improvised by Justin Roiland as he's going through. Obviously, moments like that aren't, but like, if you listen to a lot of these kind of rants that Rick goes on, and they had a problem at the beginning of the show. Justin Roiland was using the word Morty as a crutch. So he's like, Morty, we gotta go, Morty, we gotta. And they started to say, like, even people at the network were like, look, it's too much. And even the burping, like he would be burping in between like every other word. Mm-hmm. And if you go back and watch it, those first few episodes are kind of tough to watch, tough to listen to, just because it's nothing but belching and Morty.
Yeah, it's tough. And you know what's funny? He can't even fake burp. Those are real burps.
Really?
He can't burp on demand. Yeah. So the actress who plays Summer, she can do it. She can burp on demand.
Really?
He's jealous of that. Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
And I'm wondering if, because a few episodes into the first season, or is it the first episode that ends with Rick barging into Morty's room drunk? He's like, "We're gonna go on all these adventures, Morty," and he's kind of 100 years, Morty, all the season. Yeah, I'm wondering if that was their answer, because he keeps saying Morty over and over, and it's like a drunk, like.
I just love when he was like, "You're pulling me too hard."
Yeah, you're pulling me too hard.
You know, how incredible is it? Like, what talent is that? Where you do Rick and Morty's voice?
Yeah.
First time I heard that, I'm like, that cannot
That's crazy.
be.
Rick and Morty and like 1,000 other characters.
Wait, both brothers of the two brothers?
Two brothers.
Old women are coming.
They're coming. It does remind me of, like, you know, you hear Family Guy, Simpsons, those voice actors do that. Like Brian and Peter are the same thing. And it's funny that they said that there's an interview with Seth MacFarlane. He said that when they gave him approval for American Dad, which was like his second show after Family Guy, he goes, well, I'm going to voice the main character again. And this time I'm going to do it in a very nice low baritone. So I don't kill my voice anymore. And he's like, I won't do those characters. Like Peter Griffin, he's like, it's so super famous, but it is so demanding on his voice and it really hurts him.
And apparently Mr. Meeseeks, that voice for Justin Roiland, it gives him a screaming headache. So he has to like take breaks.
So existence truly is pain.
Right.
Oh, wow.
I just want to die.
Oh, man.
So, I mean, I don't want to like, shepherd us through this, but is that the right word? Shepherd us through this? Okay, anyway,
our shepherd.
I am the shepherd of the podcast. But let's dive into the future of the franchise a little bit. Obviously, they're coming out with this new season. We don't really know what's going to happen in it quite yet. I haven't really seen any like teasers for it up yet.
I don't want to speculate. It's like I get caught in this trap. I watch a trailer for the new Star Wars movie. I come up with all these theories. None of them are right, which is great. If it was right, I would be offended and be like, pay me. Where's my, why aren't I in these rooms writing? But like, and with this kind of show too.
Yeah.
Holy crap. It could go down 3 different left turns and then make a 4th and still not be going in a circle. Like it is. I'm just so excited to see what they bring to us. But as far as like a video game would go.
So that's what I wanted to talk about. Because I think for video games, and this is just kind of, I don't know, my section. It's kind of, the video games have kind of become my geek out on this show, which I'm okay with.
Bread and butter.
But I think that there's a huge opportunity to build almost a sandbox game that takes place in those multiple dimensions where, maybe, and they could even do it in such a way where every time you turn on the game, you're in the same world with all your same items, but the people are made of corn in one. And then like
everything here is made of corn. I don't know why that's a problem, but I guess it was. Get in this lesson. Everything's corn.
But like,
how long are the days on this planet? 37 hours.
Which, okay, this is a total digression from the show, but I need to tell you a story of what happened today. We were getting ready to shoot some pictures today. Mark and I were.
That's crazy.
And something itched on my finger, and I was like, I just scratched it, and I looked down, and I'm scratching the back of a hornet.
No!
And I'm not joking,
like
Dave. It was this long. It was at least 2 inches long.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was like thick, like THICC.
Yeah, it was huge.
And I handled this like a little biatch.
Should we do an instant replay?
I literally went, ah!
Much higher pitch though.
It was in the middle of one of Mark's sentences, and I just screamed and flung it on the ground. And it took 2 stomps to kill it.
Oh,
yeah, so like a man,
drop your camera.
I went over there and approached it very gingerly. And then I stepped on it, and I was like, I'm putting some force on that, but I didn't hear many cracks. I let it off, and I think I angered him.
Yeah.
He was
how
big.
dare you?
Yeah.
But no, it was like wrapped around my finger.
Better kill me next time.
Try harder.
Yeah.
Go for the head.
That's crazy. You're lucky you didn't get stung.
Oh, dude, that would have been bad. Anyway, but yeah, I think that having sort of that, like every time you turn on your game, there's a different dimension.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. Just
the greatest thing is, it could be an MMO, it could be multiplayer, it could be single player, but every character is always, you play as Rick and Morty. Right. You play as both, but you design your own because you're from dimension whatever. Yeah. And you can run into all the other Mortys. And the Citadel could be the hub, like, at where you can run into all your friends or go on different dimensions. Yeah, absolutely.
Get your Morty insurance.
Exactly. Hell, that could be Rick never dies, but your only health is your Morty's health bar.
Yeah.
He's your health bar.
Great.
That would create kind of a cool
that'd
dynamic.
be a great like GTA style game where you can play online with people, and everyone that you play online with is more Ricks and Mortys. I mean, that'd be...
And you try to be the Rickest Rick.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You can be the Rickest Rick or the Morty's
be
Morty.
like a large-scale Simpsons hit and run.
Yeah.
Where it's very
so fun,
cartoony, but just very fun. And like, it doesn't...
You level up your Ricks and Mortys.
You don't have to take the game very seriously. It's a Rick and Morty game.
You know what I would love the most out of that is just everything in the background.
Yeah.
There'd be so many Easter eggs, and you're like, my God,
Yeah. And you'd want to be like, I want to go to the corn world.
So is there, but Mark, like, is there anything that you want to see out of the next season? Do you want to see a movie or anything like special built?
Oh my God! Well, you know what I love? I love the fact that they're getting more and more celebs in there.
Yeah.
So I love to see how they plug them in, like Susan Sarandon, right? Is this very, very heady
psychiatrist?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, but I love how they do that, and it's just brilliant because I'm sure there's a lot of riffing that goes on in there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's probably, I'm sure these professionals come in, right? And they're like, I'm sticking to my script, I'm on it.
Yeah.
Not knowing Justin's not.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would be like for someone like Susan Sarandon, who's like the utmost professional, but like when she goes in, like, have fun. Go.
Yeah.
Just, like spread your wings, enjoy it.
And given my very limited voiceover experience when I lived out there, in that whole voiceover world, it really is just an atmosphere of get in there and have fun. Because you're making cartoons. Like, you're getting in there to play.
Sure. I was thinking, right when you said movie, like a Christmas special. Let's give us
that'd
one
be
of those.
great.
Yeah.
Separate from the season. Adult Swim can put it out or put it on like Netflix or one of those things.
Yeah.
And that'd be that could be fun. Have
Yeah.
guests, previous guests, like guests to the show. I'm talking about characters from like previous
Yeah.
seasons and stuff. Like, that'd be,
That'd be awesome. And we have seen a Santa Claus.
Yes.
Which was awesome. Anatomy Park was a phenomenal
That was an
episode.
incredible episode. Well, and so here's the thing, you guys. I mean, we're already getting close to our time. This franchise sort of got huge overnight, it seemed like. It has this crazy cult following. I mean,
It's only 7 years old.
Yeah, even going to the fact of like McDonald's reproduced Szechuan sauce because the fan base demanded it.
Unbelievable. Man.
Yeah.
Internet trolls can run with anything.
yeah.
Do you hear they canceled the Area 51 raid, by the way?
They canceled it. People are still going to show
People are
up.
still going to show up, but
Yeah.
the guy who like organized it canceled. But anyway,
I just think
crazy.
that seeing how quickly it's grown is just insane. And the fact that it's so quotable and so like, I guess a part of the zeitgeist, like anybody can quote anything from that and you know what it's
you
from.
say Pickle Rick.
yeah.
Right.
A lot of
Yeah,
people know who
exactly.
Pickle Rick
Right.
is.
I have gifts for you guys.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
grab it.
I honestly, I forgot about this. Okay, Mark's going to...
Live unboxing, guys.
Live
Bear with us.
unboxing. He's going around somewhere. I don't know where he's going.
Nimble like a cat.
Is he leaving?
He's leaving the apartment.
Mark has left the room.
He's getting in his car.
This is he's driving. There are police.
He's speeding away.
Okay, hit him back.
Okay. So he's re-entered the. Oh my gosh.
What is this? What are these?
Oh
All
my
right,
gosh.
so you gotta have a little fun.
Yeah,
So I'm
sure.
at the store, and we were just talking about this, like literally that afternoon. And I'm like, oh, sweet. What appears before my eyes? Right? These awesome Rick and Morty socks, man.
Thank
I'm
you
like,
so much. That's
Dude,
awesome.
thank you.
Yes.
Now you guys can wear them in style.
That's
These are
great.
incredible.
I'm wearing these tomorrow to work.
We're gonna post. We'll post pictures
We're
on the
gonna get pictures.
Instagram.
There you go.
Thank
yeah.
you so much.
Yes, thank
That's
you, man.
awesome.
This is so cool.
That's dope.
You're the
I
first
love it.
guest to bring us a themed
Take
gift.
notes,
come on,
future
yeah.
guests.
Yeah, come on. Anytime you're on the show, it's gonna be like a tradition now. You got to bring
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah. Bring us socks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's gotta be it.
Always themed socks.
Yeah.
Bring themed socks. But you guys, we're just so thankful that you tuned in and listened to this episode, and we're thankful that you're just tuning in general. And I wanted to actually mention something. You guys, we have swag. And I mean, we have swagger as human beings,
Of course.
but we have like pins and stickers and coasters and magnets. If you guys want some of that, just let us know. We will happily send some of those out to you. We have plenty, and they're
Yes.
free.
They're free.
So
Let us
just
know.
let us know. We'll send some of those out to you. As per usual, please make sure to subscribe on iTunes if you're not already. Give us a rate and a review as well.
Yes.
That's huge.
Share.
Sharing it with your friends, your family, your dog, your interdimensional. Yeah.
All your interdimensional other versions of you.
Right.
And thank you so much, Mark, for joining us.
Oh,
Yeah,
my pleasure. It's a
thank you.
blast, you guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be definitely doing I'd like to almost do a little, maybe a video short in November. Maybe come on back and we could play one of the games.
Oh my
I could-
gosh.
Oh,
we
yes,
could
yeah.
get maybe try and get virtual reality going because I have PSVR, so we could
Oh,
probably
we're there.
hook
Great.
it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
We're
if
doing
not,
it.
I'm sure we could reach out to other Dave.
Dave Simons, yeah,
And see
yeah.
if he can get
You
us
can check
set
out
up.
his crazy green. He's got a green
Green screen.
green screen. What's
Yeah.
the word? And so
It's
he
a
can,
screen that's green?
It's a screen. And his footage, he puts himself in the video games when he like streams and stuff.
way.
Yeah,
It
it's
looks
pretty
awesome.
wild.
Okay.
It's pretty
Good.
wild.
He's got a crazy cool setup. But I think that's it. So we always like to ask, Mark, is there anything that you would like to plug, personal, professional, on the show?
Yeah, there's actually this Finance Unpacked.
Oh snap! We'll be talking more on that later on. It sounds related, totally unrelated
Totally
to this podcast.
Do you have an
but-
Instagram handle at all or anything you want to give the
No,
folks?
for me, nope. Just
No.
a fan of the show.
Excellent.
Well, we're so glad to have you here, man. If you guys want to find me on Instagram, it's at the Zach Rogers,
And you can find me at the Dave of Wonders.
and you can find our show at Franchise Unpacked. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I want to go try these socks on.
Yeah,
They
we're
feel
going to put
warm.
these socks on.
So thank you guys so much for listening. Mark, thanks again for being on the show, man.
Thanks so much.
Definitely appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week.
Take care, everybody.
See you later.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. The next franchise we'll be unpacking is Breaking Bad. But in the meantime, feel free to drop us a line with any questions, comments, or future episodes at franchiseunpacked@gmail.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify. And be sure to share so we can keep these episodes coming your way. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.